Straight up coming through here, boy. Crashed out. He's trying to get up out of here. Crashed out right here.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Duke, and this is the CRASHEDOUT2022 channel, where we will be looking at some cases, investigations, discoveries of crimes that's where people are crashing out. Basically, a person who crashed out is somebody who has given up on life or given up on the idea of a particular type of lifestyle, and they just want to go for, whatever they want to go for in their brains, and they crashing out and murdering people, killing people, harming people. And with this channel, we just want to, first off, we just want to pray for those families. We just want to pray for the people who lost jobs and businesses. We also want to pray for the people who are directly affected by the people who lost their jobs and businesses, because that is a recipe for crashing out. We also want to pray for those people who went to sleep hungry last night. We also want to pray for the people who woke up this morning hungry. And we also want to pray for those people that will go to sleep tonight hungry, because that is a recipe for crashing out. And we also want to pray for the people who lost a loved one. Could have been last year, last month, last second. That is a recipe for crashing out, because in this day and time that we living in, we don't have a lot of people surrounding us and giving us hugs and love. Sometimes, most of the time, it's only a few people, one or two people who we can go to for that. And, life, we die. So, people die, and those people don't have those people in their life no more. So that's the recipe for crashing out. And we also want to just say thank God Almighty for this day. And without any further ado, let's get into this video. This has been a headline that's been in the news for quite some time now, and it's all wrapped up now. This is the case of the dismemberment of a son's parents, and I'm going to take you from the beginning to the end. Let's get into the video.
Thanks for staying with us. Officials are still searching for this couple, Bart and Krista Halderson. Now, there are a lot of questions about the Dane County couple's disappearance that we are working to get some answers to, but tonight, police aren't saying much, and that led us to the couple's son, who says he's just as confused as investigators. Adam Duxter spoke with that man today. He's here now with what he learned. Adam?
Well, Eric, Chandler Halderson lives with his parents in the village of Windsor and says another unknown couple picked them up early Friday morning before he was awake. And tonight we're left to wonder what happened to Bart and Krista Halderson.
Brett Schuster says his usually quiet street is busier than ever since last night.
I pulled in. There was a couple of sheriffs out there. Then 2 hours later, there's 3 or 4 detectives there. As we saw the detectives enter the house, that's where we knew there's something going on inside Bart's house.
Shortly after, the Dane County Sheriff's Office shared this photo of Bart and Krista Halderson. Police say the couple had planned to go to their cabin in Langlade County. Their son, Chandler, asked not to be shown on camera, but he told us he didn't see his parents leave and added they didn't drive themselves.
They were picked up by their friends, who I never got the name of, and I assumed it was someone I was aware of. The close neighbors of theirs up the street, or their best friends down on the east side. So that's what I assumed. I never really asked any further.
Chandler says he assumed his parents had turned off their phones to avoid roaming charges. And it wasn't until after the holiday weekend ended that he got nervous.
Roaming charges, like, who still have phones with roaming charges? Like, that's like in 2005, 2003 or something. Roaming charges? That don't even sound right.
Because this weekend it was packed. I get that. Packed. Maybe the weather wasn't great for messaging.
Tonight, Dane County Sheriff's Office says there are too many unanswered questions to say anything, while Langlade County Sheriff's Office wouldn't confirm they're helping in a search. Police instead spending today interviewing neighbors, like Brett Schuster himself.
The shocked. I mean, it's odd, though. Everything that seems, it's odd and shocking that, you know, you never expect or anticipate seeing something that, especially that close to your house. I hope everything works out and it's just a misunderstanding with communication and comes pulling in the driveway any minute.
And Chandler Halderson says for his parents to leave, even with another person, does happen from time to time. But he tells me another family member went to that cabin to check out cell service and was able to get through.
Well, hopefully we'll get some answers soon. Adam Duxer reporting. Adam.
Yeah, it don't even sound right. The story that he made up, it don't even sound right. Like, let's get into the second video. It says, son of missing Windsor couple arrested for providing false information.
Hello, everyone. We want to get right to breaking news overnight about the missing Windsor couple. Their son is in the Dane County Jail this morning, accused of giving false information to authorities.
We actually heard from him yesterday on his parents' disappearance. Taylor Lazenby has new breaking information from the jail this morning. Hi, Taylor.
Good morning, guys. That's right. The Dane County Sheriff's Office will give a press conference later this morning on an update about this case. Right now that we know, there are breaking details over.
And another thing, too, like, as I be watching these news channels, why all of them have that same voice? Like, breaking news and... But... Anyway.
Tonight, putting Bart and Krista Halderson's son, Chandler, behind bars. This is what we know so far. We know that 23-year-old Chandler Halderson is accused of giving officers false information on a missing persons case. Now, the couple was supposed to be up in North Langlade County for the 4th of July holiday, but it's not clear if they ever made it there. Now, News 3 Now's Adam Duxer spoke to Chandler about his parents just hours before his arrest. He said he last had contact with his parents on Sunday.
I actually got a text from them on Sunday telling me they were going to White Lake. I don't know when the text was sent because of reception issues that they would have, and they usually turn their phone off because of pay for roaming.
Well, it's not clear right now if the Dane County Sheriff's Office considers Chandler a suspect, but officers are now considering the couple's disappearance as suspicious. Of course, again, we will have an update to that press conference later on this afternoon. You can find all that information on our website and on our app.
Taylor Lazenby, thank you very much. And when we get those updates, we'll be pushing them on that Channel 3.
So law enforcement found out that Buddy was lying about the disappearance of his parents. Because he was basically saying that my parents in a cabin and I don't know who he left with and Roman charges. Like, that stuff don't add up. You did this callous murder of your parents and you're trying to give some bull story. You know, the law enforcement picked up on it and arrested him. He crashed out. The reason for it, let's find out.
Joining us tonight, the Dane County man who reported his parents missing is still in jail. And a police investigation into the disappearance has resulted in the recovery of human remains. Adam Duxer spoke to the son of the missing parents, Chandler Halderson, just yesterday and explains why police are hesitant to release details on the investigation.
Well, prior to this week, aside from as much as a speeding ticket, Chandler Halderson, who lived in this Windsor home with his parents, had a clean criminal record. But police say his lies about his parents' disappearance were enough to arrest him. And now they're still trying to figure out what's true.
Police still present this evening at the Halderson family home in the village of Windsor, 24 hours after the Dane County Sheriff's Office arrested 23-year-old Chandler Halderson, who they say told them, as well as us, misinformation regarding what happened to his parents.
To my knowledge, they were going to Langlade County to a cabin, their cabin. Along the way, they could have stopped many places. I wouldn't know all of them.
Police say interviews with neighbors, family, and friends led them to remains in rural Dane County last night. At a news conference, Sheriff Calvin Barrett wouldn't clarify whether those remains are Bart and Krista Halderson or share where they found them.
Are you aware?
Yeah, in rural Wisconsin, rural Dane County.
What community, Sheriff?
It was in a rural area of Dane County.
Can't say more specifically.
No, again, this is an ongoing investigation, and we don't want to interrupt what we have going on right now.
Tonight, Chandler Halderson remains in jail while police try to put together answers and the community attempts to make sense of the situation even without them.
Offer our thoughts and prayers to the family and The Village of Windsor partners with the Dane County Sheriff's Department for law enforcement, and we appreciate the relationship that we have, and we hope to have this come to a speedy conclusion. Thank you.
The rest of the Halderson family says they're grateful for the support and still hoping for the best outcome. Sheriff Barrett says they're determined to figure out what that outcome is, but still need time.
I want to let everyone know that the Dane County Sheriff's Office, our women, men, detectives, and investigators are going to do everything that we can to bring closure for this investigation.
Sheriff Barrett says now they're waiting for an autopsy on the remains they found yesterday, but says that process could take days, potentially into next week for them to get those results.
Wow. So now they found the remains of they found the remains of somebody near a rural area in Wisconsin. So they don't know if it's the body of the parents or what, but let's keep going into the investigation and hopefully we can discover more.
All I would really want to ask you is just if there's any information that you feel like, would be worthwhile for us to share, anything that you feel like is.
So this is the conversation that detectives had with the son of the missing couple, his parents. This is a conversation he had with detectives. Let's listen to it.
Is important for us to share, just anything like that, of that nature.
So my last message I got from them, they were going to White Lake for the 4th of July. There's some festivities that go around there, better drink prices at the bars, stuff like that for White Lake, Wisconsin. Other than that, their plan, or to my knowledge, they were going to Langlade County to a cabin, their cabin. Along the way, they could have stopped many places. I wouldn't know all of them. But it's about 3 hours north of Madison, or Dane County.
And they left then a week ago today, on the 1st?
Friday morning.
So that would have been the 2nd, right, of July when they left. Yes. And that's the last you'd heard of them?
Yes, it is.
And then was it yesterday that you called the sheriff's office, or someone with your family called the sheriff's office just to...
I go back on that. I actually got a text from them on Sunday telling me they were going to White Lake.
Okay.
I don't know when the text was sent because of reception issues that they would have, and they usually turn their phone off because of pay for roaming.
Yeah.
It could have been whenever they sent that message that they made it safely, and they're going to White Lake for the 4th.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So it was probably the last couple days that you started to get nervous then. Is there, we see comments, people say, are they up north? Is the cell service bad? Could they, just not be able to get a hold of? Is there anything that you feel like is kind of going on here that leads you to be a little bit more nervous that that's not the case?
My aunt went up there and was able to call me while she was at the cabin.
Okay.
So she was able to call me. I don't know what provider she's using, but U.S. Cellular would take up most of Wisconsin, so they'd be able to call today because this weekend it was packed. I get that, packed. Maybe the weather wasn't great for messaging. Yeah, so
the weather in July.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask you about was a lot of the comments, people were concerned or kind of wanted some clarification about the vehicle, right? Because the reports from the sheriff's office say they didn't have a car, or there wasn't a car with them.
They were picked up by their friends, who I never got the name of, and I assumed it was someone I was aware of, like the close neighbors of theirs up the street, or their best friends down on the east side. So that's what I assumed. I never really asked any further into it, and so they got picked up, and they all went up there by another couple.
Picked up here?
Yeah, here at my house.
Okay.
Before I woke up, they had everything packed up and already gone.
And you don't know who they're who?
No.
Jeez.
That's that has happened before, where they just kind of head out before I leave, or I wake up. I'm a heavy sleeper. I'm on a schedule. I wake up at 6 to feed the dogs, and they were out before 6. Beat the rush to get to the north. So.
Wow. So that was the full conversation of the detectives and the son. Conversation about the missing, the whereabouts, of his parents, and they determined he was lying. So that's why they arrested him. So let's get to the next video. Human remains found in town of Roxbury confirmed as Krista. That's his mom's. So let's watch this.
The search for a missing mother is over tonight. The Dane County Sheriff confirms both Krista and Bart Halderson are dead, and another homicide charge is being recommended against their son. This has been a long and complex investigation for officers. Brady Mallory shares the timeline on this case.
Well, the Haldersons were last seen a month ago at their home in Windsor. Their son Chandler reported them missing on July 7th, telling police his parents never returned home from a trip up north. Well, then on July 10th, dismembered remains belonging to Bart were discovered in rural Dane County.
Now they saying they found dismembered remains of his father. So the son dismembered them, meaning he cut him up. Wow.
Then 2 days later, Chandler was charged with first-degree homicide in his father's death. Authorities remained hopeful that they would find Krista alive, but on July 14th, they found more human remains in the town of Roxbury. And just today, the sheriff says that those remains belong to Krista, and he plans to pursue a second homicide charge against Chandler. Naomi Coles was there today when the sheriff gave an update on the case. Naomi?
Police have been searching a lot of places since this investigation started, and these new remains were found right on the Halderson property. That's new. All the remains found up until now were on land that was 20 or 30 minutes away from the home. These have not been identified, and the search continues.
This has been a time-consuming and exhaustive investigation. Although significant progress has been made, this is still an ongoing and very active investigation.
There's no other suspects at this time, and you're encouraged to call the sheriff's office with any information you might have. We still don't know much about a possible motive, but new court documents with the expected charges in Krista's death could possibly shed more light on what we know so far. Chandler has since been bound over for trial for the charges filed in his father's death. We've got our detailed day-by-day timeline online right now at Channel 3000. We also have stories about how this investigation has progressed, including what Chandler himself has said about it on the Channel 3000.
Crazy. So now they have found the mother and the father dismembered. So he didn't killed and cut his parents up. Wow. He crashed out, man. I got another video for y'all. Let's get to it. They said the son went door to door asking about security videos, neighbors say. Wow.
Continuing our coverage tonight of the trial of 23-year-old Chandler Halderson, charged in the deaths of his parents. Today, friends of the Halderson family testified, painting a picture of what they say Chandler was like around the time he reported them missing. Tahlil Muhaddin joins us to break down today's proceedings. Tahlil?
15 witnesses, from friends to neighbors and law enforcement, all taking the stand, helping build a case against Chandler Halderson with little pushback from his defense team.
Day 2 of the Halderson trial kicking off with testimony from longtime family friends.
This has really given me a sick stomach. I said, this does not seem right. Something's not right here.
Michael Hilgendorf and his wife Jane driving 88 miles to check on the missing couple.
Tell me what you found when you got to the cabin.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing meaning no sign Brett and Krista Halderson ever made it to their cabin in Langlade County.
There was probably, I would say, 12 to 14 inches of grass, so the grass hadn't been cut, and you could see that nobody was there.
Jane breaking the news to Chandler.
And I was shocked that he said any bullet shells or any blood or anything. And I went, what? And he's like, did you find anything? And I'm like, no one's been here.
The Hilgendorf's twin daughters deciding to check in on Chandler.
We kind of just became their family, and they became ours.
But when they got to the Halderson family home in Windsor, they say things were off.
The detectives leave. I wanted to go with them, but
Why?
Just a weird vibe, and this is just not somewhere I just didn't feel very safe.
They testified hearing information that for those who knew Bart and Krista best was hard to believe.
In the moment he told me, you know, they're probably just at a casino.
What did you think of that comment?
There's no way.
I could have given Bart a $100 bill, and I think he would have gave it back and said, no, we're not going.
Days later, neighbors say Chandler went door to door asking about their ring footage.
I was wondering if you were able to capture the road or my house.
The police actually came and downloaded everything they have.
Yeah, did it capture anything on?
We don't know.
But Halderson's uncle, Bart's brother, and former police officer Brett Halderson says it was his idea.
Just knowing camera systems and knowing that sometimes they're not kept more than 24 hours, 48 hours or longer. And I wasn't aware of what Dane County was doing at the time. I thought it just would be prudent to try to preserve any information that would potentially have a license plate of a vehicle that stopped there that day.
The prosecution also showed a video inside the Chandler home that, once sped up, was just under an hour long. They plan to use specific sections of that video as the trial continues. The judge today warning jurors that tomorrow they will begin to see more difficult pieces of evidence from the prosecution.
Talil, thank you. Now, News 3 Now and Channel3000.com will continue to cover this case extensively. Tomorrow, we will once again be live streaming it. We'll have updated recap and a preview of what we can expect in day 4 on News 3 Now this morning. And to get a more in-depth look, see the timeline of the case and watch it live, just head to Channel3000.com. We have an entire page there.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Dude and did that to his parents, man. You know what I'm saying? Crashed out. All right, let's get into this video. It say, investigators detail finding cell phones IDs of Bart and Krista Halderson hidden in home. So he hit him.
Well, it is week 2 of the Chandler Halderson trial, and prosecutors are focusing on evidence from the Halderson home and from where investigators found Bart Halderson's remains.
Today, the jury saw the actual saw blades and scissors found in an oil drum near the remains, as well as shoes with apparent bloodstains on them.
Our Brady Mallory takes us to court with the latest. Brady?
Well, today the jury saw a lot of photos and the actual items investigators are using as evidence in this case. At one point, a deputy described the search of the Halderson home where they found the parents' IDs and phones inside of a pair of shoes in the garage. Chandler Halderson had told authorities that he had received a text message from his mother's phone during the July 4th weekend, saying they had reached the family's cabin up north. Authorities later determined that nobody had been at the Haldersons' cabin that weekend. And throughout the day, deputies and detectives involved in the investigation testified about a long list of everyday items that could be important in this case. You can see more of...
So, hold on, man. So, he wrapped their cell phones and their IDs in aluminum foil. This right here should give you a glimpse of the type of sick mind that he had. That he could, I can wrap it up in aluminum foil so the signals, like, you thought of that, you had the you calculated this. And you probably thought about murder. You probably thought about murder all day, every day. And you do something like this. Like, dude, sick. I mean,
that could be important in this case.
Crazy, man. Man. Bloodstains, bone fragments, and a bloody axe. What investigators say they found inside Halderson home. This is the bloodstains. This is the bloodstains, y'all. Right there. That's where he got busy at. Henderson neighbor remembers smelling pungent odor as prosecutors focus on family room fireplace.
A former Dane County detective testifies in day 6 of the Chandler Halderson murder trial.
And it just so happened he lived across the street from the Haldersons. Eric Franke joins us now with more details about his testimony. Eric?
Susan and Mark, that's right. It just so happened Stephen Greiber, who spent more than a decade as a Dane County detective working in the DA's office, lived across the street, testified about what he smelled the day that it's alleged that Chandler Halderson burned his parents' remains. Greiber was in his driveway when he says he detected a strong burning odor. He said he thought it was just a fire pit, maybe somebody burning some firewood at first, but then after 5 minutes or so, Greiber says the smell changed a bit. In his words, quote, more in line with what he thought was someone barbecuing.
Kind of became real strong, kind of like a pungent smell, to the point that I actually walked down my driveway half the distance and kind of looked up and down the street to see if anybody was doing anything like grilling or something else was going on, and I didn't see anything at that point.
Now, jurors also saw footage from a neighboring home security camera of a flickering light from a fire in a fireplace at the Halderson home. A detective testified how they ran some tests to illustrate that the light was, in fact, coming from the Halderson fireplace. Later, a special agent from the Department of Justice's Arson Bureau said he detected a grilled meat smell from the fireplace. Agent Bill Boswell said he recovered bone fragments during an examination of that fireplace. Susan?
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Like, I don't get it. What did you expect? You expected to get away with it? You don't live in that type of community. You don't live in that type of family. You see people coming driving 88 miles to come see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get how you expected to get away with this. But that's what happens when you crash out. You don't expect to get away with it. You crash out and you crash out and you fumbling and you doing this and doing that, and it's instant karma. Instant karma. When you crash out, it's instant karma because what you doing is not right. It's not what you was put on this earth to do, man. Whatever the reason why, they probably told him he couldn't play his PS5 no more or something like that. Like, crazy. They probably told him to get a job or something.
Investigators did not mince words when they accused Chandler Halderson of lying about what happened to his parents.
Today in court, prosecutors played video of the interview with Halderson before detectives ultimately arrested him for the murder of his parents, Bart and Krista Halderson. Brady Mallory takes us to day 4 of the trial and breaks down this piece of evidence. Brady?
Well, we want to warn you, you may find some of the details disturbing. In the nearly 2-hour interview, detectives asked Chandler Halderson to recount his version of the events of the days leading up to and after his parents supposedly left to go to their cabin up in northern Wisconsin. As he went over the story, Halderson appeared to have trouble piecing together what happened on each day, often correcting himself and asking investigators which day they were talking about. Well, at that time, he didn't know the sheriff's office had discovered the dismembered torso of his dad, Bart Halderson, along with multiple cutting tools, including scissors and a handheld saw. At the end of the timeline and a review of Chandler's statements, the detectives cut to the chase and confronted him. They thought he was lying.
I think it's time we start talking about what happened to your parents. Like a truthful version. Okay. So we have like 20 pages of writing. We're going to start with a clean white piece of paper for you to start telling the truth. Okay. Why? Because listen to me. This is the only chance you're going to have to tell us the truth.
According to the criminal complaint in the case, Halderson was arrested shortly after asking for an attorney. After he was told he was being arrested, he asked what happened. Halderson denied being there when something happened to his parents, but detectives again accused him before putting him in handcuffs and booking him into the Dane County Jail. We'll show you more of that interview with Halderson coming up at 5.
We'll see you then, Brady. Thank you.
Man. They got you, buddy. And this is the video of him being found guilty on all charges in the murder of his parents. Let's check this out.
We know that we cannot bring Bart and Krista back, but this is the first step to hopefully some finality in this situation.
In less than 3 hours of deliberation, 23-year-old Chandler Halderson guilty on all charges in connection to the deaths of his parents, 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 2 counts of providing false information, 2 counts of mutilating a corpse, and 2 counts of hiding a corpse. Inside the courtroom, friends and family of the Haldersons nodded along as that verdict was read. Some even brought to tears. Our Dahlil Mohadeen was there when it all happened. She spoke with the district attorney and shares his reaction to today's outcome.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Chandler M. Halderson, guilty of hiding a corpse.
Moments after the jury's guilty verdict.
I would say that, we are grateful for this outcome.
District Attorney Ismail Ozan thanking the jury for their service, calling their verdict true and just.
This system does not work without jurors and people willing to give of themselves.
In what was at times a gruesome case, the jury of 12 finding Chandler Halderson guilty on all 8 felony counts, the most serious of which carries a life sentence.
Chandler M. Halderson, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
Their verdict reached the same day as closing arguments. Halderson's defense after calling no witnesses, making a final attempt to sway jurors.
No one is saying that nothing happened to Bart and Krista. Something awful happened to these 2 people. And the very least you can say is that Chandler reacted. But you do not know what happened.
ADA William Brown closing the trial out with the prosecution's rebuttal.
I operate in a world of common sense and not fanciful thoughts of just this guy finding his dead parents and deciding no big deal, let's just cut them apart and hide them around the state. But who knows how they died?
Before dismissal, Judge John Hyland reminding jurors of their duty.
You will not be swayed by sympathy, prejudice, or passion. You will be very careful and deliberate in weighing the evidence.
In little more than 2 hours, they reached a verdict Ozan says was made possible through the Sheriff Department's leadership.
Cover the immensity and complexity of this case in such short order and allow us to get it to trial and come up with this verdict. Speaks to their professionalism and their integrity.
He also says while they may never know why Halderson killed his parents, he hopes the verdict brings those affected some satisfaction. At the Dane County Courthouse, Dahlil Mohadeen, News 3 Now.
The case is still considered open as Halderson awaits sentencing. That is scheduled to happen in mid-March, and there we will hear from both the prosecution and the defense once more.
We know that
mid-March that's when he's going to be sentenced. So I just want to put up a picture of the parents real quick. Let me see if I can find a picture.
With us, officials are still searching for this couple, Bart and Krista Halderson. Now, there are a lot of questions about the Dane County couple's disappearance that...
I'm just going to leave this right here. Leave this up right here, man. Just, rest in peace to the Hendersons, man. And, no parent deserve to have their kids murder them, let alone dismember them. So I just want to pray for their soul. I want to pray for their family. This is a crazy world that we living in, man. And you can't even trust your own kids, man. Especially you took care of them, had a good life, good family, this is the outcome of you, you know, sacrificing, you know, whatever you sacrifice to have your family, you know, in a better position in life. This is a consequence. Like, you get dismembered. It's crazy, man. And you know, I wanna pray for his soul too. I wanna pray for Chandler's soul, man. I just wanna pray for his soul too, because, you know, hopefully, you know, he can hopefully he can ask for forgiveness of what he did, man. And you know, this just to show y'all, man, like, this is, you know, you have to be careful, man. You have to be careful, man, because, you know, it's like demons they everywhere, man. You have to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be aware of who you dealing with. You got to be aware, man, because I guarantee you, though his parents saw some red flags. It was some red flags on the play. But y'all stay safe out there, man. And, you know, like I said, man, stay aware of your surroundings, man, because, you know, they around. Peace.